With that said, all right, welcome for a second time to the hot seat. Thompson Boxing's general manager and matchmaker, our friend, the one and only Alex Camponovo.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Yeah, you're right there. You're right there, Alex. I'm bringing this guy over here. Over here.
Both of you looking at me straight.
Yeah, we want to look at you. We want to admire you. You know what I mean?
No, because it's kind of weird.
I don't know.
How you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Alex. How are you, man? Thank you for coming back.
No, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
All right, Alex. Well, it's been a while since we had you. It's been like over a year. So, welcome back. Can you let us know what's been going on with Thompson Boxing so far?
A lot has been going on since we have seen you last. We had it's a world champion in our midst with Danny Roman fighting for a world title already a number of times, defending his title, not only winning the WBA title, but the IBF title.
IBF.
He was scheduled to fight a couple weeks ago, but he injured his shoulder. We're waiting for a doctor's report, which should come up in about a week. And that's going to determine when he's back in the gym.
Did he? Okay, can I hit on this a little bit? I know his opponent made some comments, you made some comments, or no?
No, I think the manager of the opponent said that Daniel Roman is faking the injury. I mean, from we know the Roman, I highly doubt that.
Oh,
come on. Roman is made it from the hard way.
I can tell Vadim.
Yeah. I thought,
directly that there's nothing to fake. Nothing. Never. No. There's never an intention from Danny Roman personally to do anything like that. He's a consummate professional.
Absolutely.
He wanted to go ahead with the fight.
He still wanted to fight him?
He wanted to go ahead with the fight. Oh, yeah. Obviously, we didn't know the extent of the injury. We were concerned at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us, it was not something that deemed a surgery or something much greater or a long recovery time. He just needed to be away from it. He's got a bump shoulder. Didn't have any ligament tears or anything like that, rotator cuff.
Thank God.
Yeah, because that would have been delayed. That would have put us, in a total different scenario. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing to hide with Daniel Roman. We don't play funny games with this. I can tell Vadim that to rest assured,
you guys will get it.
We're gonna get it on, and hopefully we're gonna kick his ass.
Oh man! Thank you very much for that one.
And Vadim, Roman seems to be getting better in every fight. So
I just had this conversation with Rodrigo a little before this started. The wonderful thing about Danny, besides his story, which is a tremendous story. Not just in the sport of boxing, but sport in general. It's where he came from and how he handles his life. He's, like I said, consummate professional. But the most important thing about him is that he keeps learning. And he's hungry to learn. A lot of times with the crazy world that we live in, a young man like that probably can get a little bit egotistical, and they can go in a different direction and probably tell everybody that's around him that he knows everything, he knows it all. That's not the case with him. He has a great team with Eddie Gonzalez, his manager and trainer. Eddie is a terrific trainer. He analyzes opponents to the T, and their results have been showing. Every time Danny has fought, you see something different in the ring.
Exactly.
It's not ever the same thing, And for everybody that maybe early on wrote him off and people didn't know where he came from, I know exactly where he came from. Hard work.
Yes.
Very, very hard work.
And one of the most humblest guys in boxing.
Yes.
Him and Leo Santa Cruz, to me,
100%.
are like the two most humblest boxing.
I agree with that 100%.
That I've met.
Miguel Cubo says, "Saludos a todos."
Oh.
I know you guys use Cubos.
Yes,
Well,
we
Miguel
had him in 2
Cubos.
fights. Yeah, he's a terrific fighter, Miguel.
Saludos.
Saludos, Miguel.
Okay, how do you feel when I have Patricia Vera say the best manager, Alex Camponovo?
She's a little biased.
Are you Patricia?
Yeah, because she happens to be my mother. Hi, Mom.
There you go.
Hi, Mom.
Seriously?
Okay. Hey, thank you for letting us know.
We're all the best to our mothers.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So I wanted to get to this because Thompson has been having shows up and down California right now.
Yes.
But not only in California. You guys have been having shows outside of California, speaking about Texas, you know. So is that something that was your goal to do now? Start moving Thompson everywhere?
Well, it's always difficult. I mean, we don't have the ability of other promoters in the business, which is only a couple of them that have ESPN or The Zone or back in the day HBO or Showtime, and so it's a little bit more difficult for us to move around in such a way. However, we've been able to produce great results with what we have going on over here. We did go to Midland last September the 10th. We incidentally had another show here in California the same day with our partner Art Pelulo and Banner Promotions, who we promote Michael Dutchover and Ruben Villa with. And it was a great experience. Electric night. Fans were, it was tremendous. I only felt in boxing the way I felt that night just a couple of times because of the buzz, the atmosphere, the ambience was just terrific. The way that Midland fans received their own Michael when he came in the ring was unbelievable.
I'm going to ask you about Michael Dutchover. What was his reaction after that fight? Because I know he was probably up in the scorecards.
Oh, yeah.
They had to stop it because of the cut.
Yeah.
How's he doing? Is he positive? How do you take that loss?
I had a conversation with him, but mainly with his parents after the fact. And I realized how mature Michael Dutchover is. Number one, he lost his undefeated record in a terrific fight with probably a decision that was not the appropriate one for a doctor who never let the corner and the cut men do their job. I think they got a little bit scared. They jumped the gun. Perhaps there was the need for the round to end. There was only about a minute and a half left. It wasn't a horrendous cut. We've seen worse.
And that's what I wanted to get to some of those.
Exactly. So, but what you just mentioned as far as how he reacted, you would think that a young man like him, that was undefeated, would be devastated by the loss. Actually, he's learning from it. I think he's going to be better for it. He wasn't devastated after the fight. He knew that that happened. The cut was an issue for him, and he took it very, very well. Not only that, but the moment that the fight was over, and because it was deemed a punch and there was a TKO for the other guy, for the opponent, a couple of people from the crowd started booing, not only booing but throwing stuff in the ring, and they were basically attacking the other corner. Michael jumped out of his stool, went to the other side, and made the people stop. Now, that says a lot about a young man. About his character.
Yes.
And I took that to heart. I mean, considering everything that was involved, it was a main event. He was in his hometown. He lost his undefeated record. He was able to actually walk away from all that and go and protect the other guy, and that was terrific.
Now, do you think that they stopped it early? Like we've seen bigger cuts like Tyson Fury, even Derevanchenko. Darrell. You think because he's young and they kind of viewed it like he's young in his career, we don't want to damage him? Do you think that was a factor?
No, I think I was. Look, I know that the officials are there to protect the fighters at all times. Yeah. That's their job, and that's what That's what.
But it wasn't the official; it was a doctor, no?
The doctor, right? I mean, considering that the official's going to be the doctor, but the doctor, I think, in my personal humble opinion, he lacked the experience. He actually probably, like I said, jumped the gun a little bit. Now, looking back, a week before that, you had Tyson Fury, who had 47 stitches, which is incredible. Michael, at the beginning, we thought, oh man, this is going to be a cut that's going to set us back for a while. Took him to the hospital. His parents took him to the hospital in Midland. He only had 8 stitches.
8 stitches, guy.
8. So
and his grandma sewed him up.
So he's healed up already. I think we needed a little bit better, a little more experienced doctor that would have facilitated for the corner to work.
Let it work.
And let the job. Now, I got to say that the momentum in the fight had changed. Up until the 5th round, Michael was doing incredible inside the ring.
After the cut?
Before the cut, because
that's when it changed.
No, I think in the 5th round it changed a little. Okay. I think what also I have to consider is how the show got big on him. He was a little bit more excited. He was loading up a little bit on his punches, and Matisse kept boxing a little bit, but he made actually a very smart adjustment in the ring. So I don't know how the fight would have ended. I know that Michael was going for broke because he wanted to showcase himself in his hometown. And, whatever happened. Now, I know that he's going to be much better for it in the next fight.
Yeah, because sometimes that happens, right, where the fighter starts off strong and then the opponent does well the 6th to the 8th round, but then that fighter gets a second win. We see it all the time in boxing.
Yeah, yep,
happens
absolutely.
A lot, so
absolutely.
We don't know the outcome, but I think he was ahead in the scorecards when it was
stopped. He was ahead in the scorecards, yeah. 2 out of 3 was ahead in the scorecards,
On my scorecard, too.
Yeah.
He was ahead. So.
But one thing I love about the Thompson family is as soon as the decision was made, every boxer from Thompson that I know was tweeting like, "Hey, champ, keep up your head, don't worry about this, you're still a champ." And that alone, bro, speaks volume because when your whole like you said, all your boxers are supporting you, that says a lot. I mean, that tells me, like I said, Thompson feels like a family. You know what I mean? That more than just a promotion company. Right. Like when you go to a Thompson show, you go to the A side and the B side. The A side, all the guys are talking to each other. It's not like I'm here with my group and that's it. It's like everybody kind of like talks to each other. And it's like. That's something that it's unique, man. It's
a lot of them, and I appreciate that observation. And a lot of them have basically grown as in the professional ranks with one another.
Right.
Whether it's in the gyms or whether even in the dressing room, they're always supportive of one another.
Right.
And they also see the younger guys coming in. I mean, it makes a high impact when you have a Danny Roman walking into the dressing room. He's now a world champion. He came out of the same venue, started the same way, went through the tough challenges that he had to go through, and everybody, dreams to become a world champion. That's what all these guys are doing it for.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, because Daniel Roman, he's leading the pack. He's setting the example, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Of how these guys should act and be.
Like I said, a consummate professional. If he's not training, he's at the shows all the time. And he's supporting the other guys. He's supporting us. We love to have him there. It makes a world of difference. And now he's getting noticed, and now he's getting stopped, and he's signing autographs, and that's important also. He actually has grown into that.
And it's like he got more comfortable with the camera.
Absolutely, yes.
Very comfortable with the camera now,
yes,
man.
Absolutely.
I mean, he loves giving out interviews. It's like the kid that he's coming out of his shell, man.
He's not as good looking as I am, but he's trying hard.
I have both of them right here.
Look at it. He rolls up in his Ferrari now with the
and that's an interesting part. That he doesn't even. Care about those things, and there's many personal things that we've been able to share over our travels and stuff, and I'm always humbled by the way he is.
He's a family man.
100%.
He's a family man.
Not married, single.
Oh, single.
100% single.
I was
saying a lot of these boxers would be partying, clubbing, drinking. Women.
No, he long time ago. Long time ago when he was dating this young lady, and he had a conversation with her and decided that he said, "Look, I love you, but my first love is boxing."
Wow.
And I said, if you want to wait for me, perfect. If not, but I have a dream. And that was almost 5 years ago or more. And it's fascinating to think a young man, just like you said, that is clubbing, partying. I mean, I wouldn't done it. I mean, no way.
I heard about your stories, Alex. But I'm not going to get him in the show.
Tony, listen. No.
But he's an incredible story.
How many fights have you done? Somebody's asking right here. Boxing for life. Total,
I've been doing this since. May of 2000. It's going to be 20 years. Quite a few. No, I don't even know.
Yeah, he don't even keep count.
I don't even know. It's been quite a.
You heard me earlier on talking about that I wouldn't make the Golovkin Derevanchenko fight. Now, you as being in the business, being in the promoter side, managerial matchmaking, what would you do in that situation? Would you
do the rematch?
No.
I wouldn't either.
No. I mean, look. I heard you guys with your early comments about Triple G. He's a terrific fighter, always has been, future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. I don't see him getting old just in this fight. I saw in the last Canelo fight, he was a little bit more timid, and he's committing his punches and throwing. He was thinking about it a little bit more. He couldn't get him off with the jab. A lot of people probably are going to give me flack for there's a lot of people that love Triple G, and I understand that. I thought that he won that Canelo won both fights. I was there in the first one, and it was razor sharp. And in this particular fight, Derevanchenko came with everything.
Wow.
And now, credit to both men. That 10th round was scintillating. I mean, I was on my feet watching at home. It was terrific action back and
Great
forth.
fight.
And I don't know, because Triple G is getting up in age, what comes back after this tough fight.
Right.
They said that he was sick during fight
That's what I'm
week,
hearing.
and that he had some sort of a virus.
Yeah.
He was
That's still sick.
I heard that also, around, but I, no matter what, he was fighting a tough guy.
Yes.
And I don't know what's also left of Derevanchenko after the fight. Probably a lot
agree.
more, but it was a terrific fight with exchanges
Absolutely.
that just an average guy will go down easy. But those two have granite chin.
We were treated to 2 weeks, Spence Porter, and then this fight right here.
Absolutely.
Two candidates to
Two-
fight of the year.
Absolutely.
Right?
Great fight.
Yeah.
This year's been great for boxing.
But Danny too's in the running.
Yeah, well, the Doheny, that was a terrific fight.
that was a
Back in
fight.
April, yeah, it was a terrific fight.
So, let me. Somebody's asking, how is the lineup looking for the 18 for Thompson?
Well, we have a really good main event. We're fortunate to have Angel Ruiz Relampago, who's 16-0 with 12 knockouts. He's going to fight a Puerto Rican kid by the name of Javier Flores that also has a terrific knockout ratio. He's like 12-2 with 10 knockouts. It's Mexican against Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rico. That rivalry.
I can only expect a war.
Fireworks.
Angel is the terrific young man that we're fortunate to work with him. We're going to be making an announcement very soon. That's the main event. On the main event, we have George Acosta, who has a great following.
Yes.
Trains out of Maywood. El Yuyu is going to be coming back. We're in the process of getting him an opponent. We have also the brother of Isaac Serrate, Ivan Serrate, a kid that also trains out of here, out of Legends. Alex Zavala is going to be on the undercard. So we have a nice lineup for the 18. Yeah.
Do we still have tickets?
We have tickets. You can find them on ThompsonBoxing.com. You can call us at the office. Just Google us, and we'll get them for you.
Okay, if you guys haven't been to one of the best shows in Southern California, make sure you guys hit that Thompson show, man. I'm telling you guys, it's the best show, man, in town.
Thank you.
All right. I had a question because I have two questions. One, what is the hardest thing to do as a matchmaker? Is it like difficult because we had the whole Ryan Garcia incident that happened a few weeks ago where the opponent ended up getting arrested, right? And then having to look for an opponent. Now, our thing was they were trying to give him an opponent. I think you were part of one of those.
Yeah.
A harder opponent than actually the guy that he was supposed to fight. Is that something that usually happens? Because for us, it's always like
The opponent is less. The
it's
replacement
less
is lesser.
lesser than the
replacement.
The replacement, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, how do you feel about that? Something like that. Do you guys have that happen a lot in matches where you guys lose the opponent the day of?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I've had guys weigh in and not show up the next day. I have guys run after the weigh-in, run away during the weigh-in, pull out, either because something happened with them medically and therefore you cannot do anything, or you just get the jitters and then they just bail and they leave you, high and dry. If all of us guys that do this for a living and matchmaking and stuff, we could probably write an encyclopedia of all the excuses that we hear, the problems that some guys
excuses.
had. Yeah, and some of them are really good. I sometimes try to write them down. They're really, really.
Give us the best one.
Really,
Give us the best
really
one you've
original.
heard.
Oh my
Don't
god!
give out names. Just say one good one.
Well, it's. Let me see if I can put my finger on some. Well, one guy couldn't fight on Fridays because it was against his religion. That was one a few years ago.
Have you ever got my dog ate my gloves?
Yeah. Close enough. Or guys not making weight. I had that many times, and the reason why is because it's too humid outside, or because my manager stressed me out. Eddie Gonzalez, you know what I'm talking about? And my manager stressed me out, or things of that nature that, Now, granted,
there is some real ones.
Oh, well, there is some real ones, and also you have the guys that are legitimately either injured or they have a problem. Like that young man that got arrested, unfortunately,
Right.
and left Ryan without an opponent. We were involved in trying to get Peter Petrov into that fight. The guy was ready to go. He was going to fight the week after. And it didn't pan out because Ryan decided to, wait until November the 2nd.
I wouldn't have taken it.
No, like us, we were saying, no, that was a hard opponent. If you guys would have given him Peter, come on, man.
What were you guys trying to do there?
look.
Not us. We were all for it. We were ready to go. We were ready to go.
No problem. All right, so my second question, because I have to ask, man. You're saying you have the formula because you're working with the Zone and you're working with Showtime. Right now, you guys are giving Showtime what I think PBC was giving them a few years back, because I think PBC has bailed out and now Thompson's taking that position there. Is that something that works in favor of you guys, or because you guys already have you guys are the front for live stream? I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys, your live stream boxing shows are like the best. Big shout out to Beto. I like the way Beto does it. I mean, I know that Steve Kim left, but I mean, that was a good combination.
Absolutely,
it was a great combination.
Team.
But also, not only the commentating, but the whole aspect of the live stream is great. I mean, we love watching that.
Were you guys one of the first ones that did it, right?
The first ones. They were the first.
There was a couple of other outfits that were doing it. Fight Live was already, I think, available. They were trying to do the pay-per-view shows, also streaming. But the reason why we decided to do that it's because the dates dried up on television, and there was a dramatic change when PBC started going strong, and then they bought out all the dates. They bought out all the dates, and then the equation changed for all of us in the sport. A lot of people in the sport, a lot of promoters left the business because it was very hard, and we only live by those events as far as television is concerned. It's very important for us, but the only way that we were able to give our fighters exposure was through the live streaming. So we decided to invest heavily on it, and we produce our own shows. Nobody comes in from outside. We do everything in-house. I have a terrific team that does that. Beyond Beto and Doug Fisher now and Rich Morata that are commentating, the people that produce it. And it's a small team. It's just however many we're here in this room, just 5 of us, and they work very, very hard. Shout out to Paul Rivera and Joe Pahar, who do great, and they have basically reinvented our brand thanks to the streaming. And now, as far as boxing is concerned, OTT over the top, things are changing with the zones, things are changing with ESPN Plus, right. But it's been very beneficial. I don't think the sport has been as healthy as it is today. It's terrific.
Awesome. But I also hear that people came to you because they were trying it with other companies and it wasn't working out for them with the live stream, so they had to come to Thompson to get the.
Yes.
Is that true?
That's 100% true. Yeah,
man, big shout out.
No,
we're producing another series.
I know. You don't have to see
it,
but you are.
Yeah, but and we were able to figure out how the system works, and we've been pretty successful with it.
If I'm a fighter, and I'm choosing a promotional company, and I have Golden Boy, Top Rank, and Thompson, why would I go with Thompson? Like, what do you do different than them that is beneficial to me as a fighter?
I don't know if I do anything different than any other bigger company than us. We obviously, like I said before, we don't have the spots, but I could tell you that we put all the care in the fighter, and we're gonna give him consistency. If you're healthy, you could be fighting in every single one of our shows 6-7 times. We've done it in the past. I think a lot of the people that come to us is because they like that. That the fact that the fighters are going to be busy, and they do the same thing at Golden Boy. They do the same thing at Top Rank. They're elevating the fighters to a certain point.
But I do see that a lot of fighters do leave Top Rank, do leave Golden Boy. So I don't think it's I don't know.
It seems like they.
What I'm saying is it's maybe not just about the dates, right, and like how big a promotional company is. Maybe the fighter also wants to feel comfortable and cared for.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, know, and you have to be matched correctly.
Exactly.
You have to be pushed to showcase yourself. You have to develop the right way. I can't give you $100,000 for a signing bonus. I cannot give you living expenses and a Mercedes.
Then I'm out of here.
But definitely I can give you consistency, and I will watch out for your career. We will watch out for your career all the way throughout. And if all the parts work accordingly, If you're doing your job, you're training hard, and we're putting you in the right position, we're trying to get you ranked, you will get there. That's the difference.
Yeah, because that's the feeling I get from Thompson Boxing. I'm not, I'm not involved with any promotional company, but that's kind of like the feeling I get. So that's why I asked that question. So
I have two. I'm going to give a shout out first. Roy Lopez, saludos a El Paso, Texas. El Paso strong, man. We support you guys. All right. Marcos Pérez, Boxeo Colombia. Dile a Alex que el primer campeón que tuvo fue Colombia, Johnny Pérez.
Actually, Marcos, ¿cómo estás? Un saludo, mi hermano. El primer campeón que tuvimos fue Timothy Bradley. The first world champion that we had was Timothy Bradley. The second world champion was Johnny Perez.
Well, Johnny Perez.
Yeah,
I remember.
Bantamweight, IBF Bantamweight champion.
IBF, yeah.
And a terrific story also. I mean, he used to come here and live 6 to 8 months during the year. Well, he had a young family back in Colombia, and he would train. And if he wouldn't go out and run every day at 4:30 in the morning, his day was shot. He was in a bad mood. It was an incredible story, and we were able to get him. And he started late in his career because he was in the military and needed to stay in the military to get his pension in Colombia. So he turned pro at the age of 27. Very close friends of Abner Mares. They grew up together. They actually fought in the Pan American Games a couple of times. And then when he came here to the States, I saw him when he had already 4 fights. And I'll never forget, I gave him a shot in Corona, and I put him with a guy that by the name of Larry Olvera that they call the Brown Machine. And that guy threw a lot of punches. And I put myself in the very back just to watch it because I didn't want to hear nobody. I just want to watch this guy. And the guy, Johnny Perez, would throw 150 punches a minute.
And fast.
And every single one landed. He was an extreme accurate guy, tall for his division. We put him on since he was a little bit older, we put him on a quick and steady fast of opponents left and right. And by the time we were at 15-0, he was already world ranked.
Hey, what I was going to ask you is, were those low blows that Abner hit him with?
Remember those?
No, that was not the fight.
No, that wasn't the fight?
Benko.
Oh,
just Benko.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Well, that's where he won the world title in that fight at the Treasure Island in Vegas.
The fight with Perez, Johnny Perez, right?
Yeah, Johnny Perez.
That was a draw, wasn't it? If I remember.
No, the second fight. The second
fight?
time they fought. When we did a tournament after the fact.
Right.
Johnny won the title. Then we, after his first title defense was a draw against Abner Mares, and then we did the tournament, the Bantamweight tournament. The first fight that we had, if I'm not mistaken, was up in Oregon or Washington. I can't remember. And that's where he lost with Abgeko, and that was a turning point for Yanni. He started not, he got to the point that where he wanted to be, and I think he kind of took a step back. And then he fought the Armenian guy,
Darchinian.
here at what is now the Dolby Center, and that was the last fight. That's where he retired.
Wow, I was even forget Darchinian.
I know, I was forgetting.
Crazy,
but
yes.
You know, it's crazy because I hear a lot about like people that talk about that. Like you said, if he didn't wake up at 4:30 to run, he thought his day was shot out. You know what I mean? Like it was done. And I heard that this weekend. I was talking to somebody, and he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "The best thing for me to do is I wake up, even if I go out the day before on a Friday night, and I come home at 12 or 1 in the morning, I have to wake up at 4:30 to be able to go to the gym at 5. If I don't go to the gym at 5 in the morning, that Saturday morning, my day is done. Like, pretty much, it's like that. I never have a Saturday. I just wait for Sunday. And I'm like, what, man? You could restart your day, but no, there's people like that, man.
Creatures of habit.
Yeah, and then you have to be at awe at what this young men do in this sport. I mean, we know this. We watch it as fans, and we see it as at the business. You guys are part of the business, and how what they have to do in order to get themselves ready for a fight. It's incredible, and I'll never stop looking at it. It's just unbelievable.
Now, we're speaking about, you said the Brown Machine. I'm going to talk about the Mean Machine, and I think you guys had a fighter, Roberto Ariaza. Somebody brought up a question like, if you could expand on what happened in that fight. I know they fought a few. But
it was back in November 20th of last year in Oklahoma. Yeah, and it was an eliminator for the WBO title. I think it was a 3rd round stoppage. I would say that it was a little bit too fast of a stoppage.
It was too early.
Yeah, too early. But looking back at it, when Ariasa came back to it, he was a little bit dazed. So I don't know if he would have been able to continue. It could have been a little bit, the stoppage was a little bit quick. But in hindsight, it was probably the right time.
The best thing for the fighter, right?
Yeah, he's gonna come back. We're trying to get him back. He's in Nicaragua now. We're gonna try to get him back here for our last show on November the 22nd.
Now, I know the fighters have their corner, they have their trainer, they have their managers, but you sometimes as a matchmaker and also general manager, right? Let's say you see, like you said, you saw and he looked like he was groggy or he was not there. Mm-hmm. Can you also tell the corner, hey, pulling it right now, bro, or do you try to stay away from that as a matchmaker and as a general manager? Like, let's say it's one of the Thompson fighters, and you see, hey man, he's
the only thing I usually ask. I mean, it's when you have a big fight. I always it's a lot of pain and suffering.
Yes.
You don't want your guy to get hit with anything, and sometimes you magnify what the opponent is doing as opposed to what the good things that your guy is doing.
Right.
It's nerve-wracking. You don't want to lose. You know how much work went into it, not only in the gym, but what it takes for you to get a guy to the big stage. The only thing I usually do is if I'm close enough to the trainer, as far as closeness inside the cage or the ring or whatever, or where the bike racks are, I'll ask him, how's he doing? Is he okay? Is he okay? And but I've never had the need to say to stop the fight or anything like that. I've seen guys that have done it, and I give them a lot of credit. If it would necessary, I would probably just tell a trainer to stop it.
Stop it.
Fortunately enough, we haven't had guys that have been in that position. We had Carlos Carlson, who went to Japan, and we took him for a world title against Yamanaka, who had defended his title like 12 times. Legendary fighter in Japan. Was for the WBC title, and Carlos kept getting up. He got dropped 5 times, and there was a moment in time that I looked at the coach, and I just looked at me straight in the eye, and then he just nodded at me, and then So but he knew. I mean, now he got a lot of fans. He kept getting up, but he was getting hurt.
Yeah.
Do you ever match a fight where your guy gets knocked out or loses, where the whole corner goes after you and starts like? Does it a lot of it fall on you?
I've had that happen.
You had that happen?
Yeah, I have that happen.
I could imagine.
Would they blame you? This sport is tough, not only in the sense that if you lose your undefeated record, then the fighter usually starts blaming the blame game. It's just the coach, it's the matchmaker, the manager, whatever. So it goes down the list.
Now, do they also do the reverse, where they think they're ready for a championship fight, but you're saying no, they're not ready for it, but they want that tougher guy?
Talked about that earlier.
Yes. You just you have to try to slow down the process if you can a little bit, and there's certain people that you can have a conversation with, and certain people that they're not. Some people are gung-ho and they just want to go for it, and they go for broke or whatever, but I think the most important thing about it is being cautious and knowing exactly where you're standing, and sometimes it takes a little bit more conversation. But there's got to be an understanding that now the best thing that I could do for a fighter is kind of like, all right, show him the path. Okay, we're here and we want to go there. And in order to do this, we got to elevate ourselves and take certain steps.
You lay out a plan.
Exactly, lay out a plan. And then, if hopefully they will understand and go from it.
I have a question for myself, but I also have a question from the fans. Jose Reyes says, ask Alex, what boxer, past or present, would he have liked to work with, or would he want to work with right now?
Past or present? Whoa, that's a tough question. There's so many guys out there that I wanted to have the chance or the opportunity to promote or matchmake. I don't have one specifically. I was fortunate enough to be not on the matchmaking side, but I used to, before I was matchmaking, or while I was matchmaking, I was working for Don King back when Tito was finishing up his career. I started back in 2003, and I was doing PR for King at the time. I worked with him. So it was 3 years of a great ride, and I was fortunate enough to work with Tito Trinidad And I was fortunate enough to be in the island with him a number of times.
Man.
And if you would go to my office, and you guys are invited to go, everything is Tito. Everything is Tito. It's just one of the legendary guys that, he was a tremendous personality. He was a good guy. Somebody that you can definitely fall in love with in the sports sense of it, and then as a person also. And if I would ever want to promote a guy or match make a guy, would be him. It was on top of everything. He was an incredible fighter. He was a bad man.
Bad man.
When you say the name Don King, there's a lot of controversy that surrounds his name.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that? I mean,
look, we're running a business. We're not churches.
Oh,
so he's tough. He's a tough guy. That's cool.
And I'm not trying to be, but it's but being upfront is like Don it's a credit to the sport. What he did, he changed the sport. There's two guys that have changed the sport the way we look at it today: it's Don King and Bob Arum. Yeah. They've done everything for the sport, and they have made it what it is today. And look at Arum; he's still, trailblazing and everything. It's just unbelievable. And Don's just a legend, of his own right. However, people give him a bad rap. I worked for the man for 3 years, and it was terrific.
Yeah, because Don King really was like, that I know, like the promoter who first started like promoting like big, rather Thrilla and Manila, like created that whole.
Well, he was still getting paid up to some like back years right now. Because if you waited for the pay-per-views at the end, it said Don King Production.
Sure. His library is terrific. The library of fights is terrific. Yeah. The only bad thing that for Don, and he couldn't achieve that, is the fact that he doesn't have the rights for the fight in Zaire.
Really?
He doesn't own those rights. So, but other than that, because that would have made him billionaire. But the same thing with Arum. I mean, the library is terrific. We're going back to Duran and Hagler and all those guys.
Didn't they both work on that fight? And the Thrilla in Manila, both Bob Arum and.
No, I don't think so. No,
there was a big fight that they both were
well,
involved.
they did. They did the La Jolla with Trinidad back in the day, and they've a number of times. But when you have a guy like that, or like a guy like Arum, or a guy like King, and they're working the phones for 16 hours straight doing interviews. That's an unbelievable feat. And then we're not talking about guys that are in their 50s. We're talking about when they were already in their 70s. They're in their 80s now, and they're doing that type of work. I mean, look at Arum. He's traveling all over the world for his fighters, and to do close fights here and there, and doing business with the networks. It's unbelievable.
And is that tough for you guys, like to be on the how many hours are you on the phone when you guys
all day long? All day long.
But I think they're doing something that they love. That's probably why they're still alive and they're still like in good health and good shape.
Yeah.
Because they're doing something they love. It's what they wake up in the morning to go do, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have a question now, man. These guys are asking me questions, but I'll still ask them. But all right. You have a ton of young talent, but if you had to pick one that is your next world champion out of all your young talented fighters, who do you see like already approaching that mark? And I'm not saying at the end of this year, but I'm saying maybe 2020.
Ruben Villa. Ruben Villa is already highly ranked in the WBO. He just defended his title on September the 10th. Just a great match for him. He looked fantastic. He's got all the tools. He looked very impressive on Showbox. I think 2020 is going to be a lot of fun for us.
A lot of fun for.
Yeah.
One of my favorite prospects.
I was gonna say he's. Yes. All right. I'm not. Here we go, real quick. Do you pay Beto in dollars or pesos? That's what Jaime Costecho wants to know.
No, I pay him in nachos.
And nachos, there you go, cabrones.
I heard it was a 12-pack of beer. I don't know if that's true.
That's if he does well.
Yes, all right. After Danny Roman, and then going back to Danny Roman, I call him the Road Warrior. The Road Warrior because he went out there to win, right?
Yeah.
But after he beats Doheny, what is your reaction, man? I mean, once he captures his second world title, how do you feel?
It was the greatest achievement for Danny, and for me to be able to see him with 2 belts. I actually had a conversation, a heart-to-heart with him after the fight, and you always say, "I'm proud of you," and those words sometimes come easy, but I was really proud of him. I mean, I probably got a little bit emotional, and probably he looked at me funny. but it was such a terrific achievement for him, for where he started, having a couple of setbacks early in his career, not knowing if this path that he had in front of him was the right one, but he always listened. He always was convinced that, he could do better next time.
Right.
And like I said, he's a credit to the sport.
Now, and you know what? I believe you, man. I mean, because there's times where you say something to somebody, and you, like you said, it's an automatic answer that comes out. But when you say something, and right now I felt it, and it's weird because I know some people don't get it, but usually I say when I feel it, I feel it. You know what I mean? And I could feel like you said when you said something, and it was you guys' moment that you guys shared there. But I feel, and then knowing the way Danny is, he probably just perceived everything the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, just so I feel like the way you guys are vibing right now. I mean, you guys have this nice positive wave that you guys are riding, and I mean, I hope it never stops, man. Because Danny Roman and Thompson need to take it all the way, man. Get all those titles.
We want to get all the belts. All the belts.
All right. Now, so I know that the fight got postponed, but we're still going to go after this guy. But after we beat this guy, that's the mandatory, are we looking at one of the big mega fights for Danny Roman?
Yes, I would love for us to bring him back here to California, to his home, to L.A. I think it'd be great for us. And the plan is, we got to go through the Russian first. It's not going to be an easy fight. He's got a terrific amateur background. He punches really, really hard. I've been able to see him a couple times. But I trust in Danny's confidence. Now, obviously, my bravado towards his manager, it goes out the way because just the fact of the matter is that it's going to be a tough challenge for Danny.
It is.
Once we get over that, then our goal is to go after either Navarrete or Vargas. And we'll see. I don't know if Vargas is going to continue in this division or not. He might move up. I don't know if he's still promoted by Golden Boy or not. But whichever way it goes, we've already had conversations with Golden Boy prior to this fight taking place. That has to take place. We understand very well that we would like to do a matchup like that. I know that Danny will match very well against either Navarrete or Vargas. Totally different styles.
Absolutely.
But I know for a fact that the Danny's up to the challenge.
That's a great division.
And that's one thing. When we were having this conversation that I just mentioned to Rodrigo, when I told that I was extremely proud about him, and I was kind of like reliving all the moments that we had together, and him coming up to where he was that particular day with 2 belts. He just said, "I want more. I want more." There's going to be more.
And I believe it.
And he's got that mentality about it, and it's not extremely ambitious of him. No, I want this, I want that. No, it's just that I know that I want more. I want to go get it.
And I'm sure that makes it really easy for his managers, his trainers, the guy that gets up on his own that wants to learn and listen.
Yeah, there's one less headache.
One less headache, right? Yeah.
So we have November 18 or October 18?
No, October 18, and then we close the year on November the 22nd. But
the November the 22nd is where at the show?
Also at the Doubletree in Ontario, our home.
All right. Oh. So you guys don't give us a show in December?
No, we'll go dark December, January.
Ooh,
I need a break.
I need a
break.
I like it, Alex. I like it.
I have to drink that bottle that Roger just gave me.
Oh, there you go. All right. So, what are the big plans for the remainder of the year? I guess you could say, like, I know you're having the card the 18th and then the November one, but any big plans in those?
Obviously, we have to figure out what's going to happen with Danny coming up, and like I said, next week. If the doctor clears him, I would like to see if we can make a fight for this fight that we have coming up. That we have to postpone for December. And we're also working alongside with Banner and another date for Ruben Villa, because Michael, obviously, because of the cut, he's going to have to be out for a couple months. Right. So we might be able to squeeze a couple of good fights before the end of the year.
We have a question for you from Boxing for Life. Who do you think won the Spence Porter fight? What did you think about that fight?
I think Spence won. It was close. It was a terrific fight. It was a terrific fight. Fabulous fight. But Spence, all the credit to Porter. I mean, he took it to him. But Spence was just in there.
Yeah.
I think he's also one of the best 147s out there, without a doubt.
Do you think that before this Porter fight, right, Spence would talk a lot about that he's like the best 147
He
pound.
humbled down.
You think that this fight really like showed that he's really not that much better than the rest? I mean, because Porter has faced Thurman, has faced Danny Garcia, and pretty much he's been the same fighter with everybody, right?
It's hard to say that he's not the best and that he got humbled in the fight. I think, well, as we know, styles make fights.
Styles make fights, absolutely.
What I am thankful for is that he decided to go on exchange. You know, because he could have been a little bit more cautious or try to run out a little bit. They both went down. They both got up, and it was extremely close. Extremely close fight. But you know, Porter took it to him. Spence, at this level where he's fighting, nothing is going to be simple and easy. You know, you're just hoping that maybe one of the guys has an off night and then it makes it easy for you. But the same thing happens with Danny, going back to him. You know, not of the fights that we're talking about, including his next challenge, is going to be an easy fight. We're talking at the highest level.
Now, on the same subject, who would you favor in a fight, Spence versus Crawford? That's a fight everybody wants at 147. Who wins that fight to you?
That is, that'll be a dream matchup actually, and I would tend to go for Crawford. Tend to go for Crawford. Close though, not
close, absolutely,
very close.
Yeah,
but it would be an incredible fight.
Okay, so I have a good comment. Actually, I think it's a comment more than a question. Ralphie Gonzalez says, "I wish that Danny Roman would face Rigondeaux because I think Danny could beat him." But I mean, you think that fight's even in you guys' radar?
There was conversation. As soon as he defended his title for the second time, somebody asked me this question, and at the time, Rigondeaux hadn't come back, and I said, who? But now he's back. I don't know if he's a 122-pounder or a 126-pounder. I haven't heard from him from their side and see when he's going to fight anytime next. I can tell you he's a tremendous fighter. Would make it very uncomfortable for Danny. But I know if I would ask Eddie Gonzalez, his manager, he would say, "Yeah, we'll beat him." Yeah. You know, so if that fight would ever come to fruition, it's got to be, the right conditions have to be there for the champ.
I have from Mike Styles, my friend over here. Big shout out from 360 Promotions to Alex Camponovo.
Hey, Mike.
There you
Same
go.
to you. How you doing?
Congrats on that win last weekend, Mike.
I have also Robert Serrano says Roman versus Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz is moving up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Santa Cruz is 126, and he's going to move up to 130.
He's at 130, so
yeah.
Roman is 120.
And actually, Eddie, again, he told me if we ever go to another division, he goes, I'll want to bring him down to 118. I think he's crazy, but, that's... I don't see Danny moving up to 126. He makes 122 super easy. His frame's perfect for that division.
Okay, I'm going to ask this question but I don't know what we are going to say about this. So I guess Eddie Jimenez wants to know, everybody talks smack about Canelo and PDs and pets, right? But nobody talks about Dylan White the B sample.
Why is it not released yet? Right?
Why hasn't it been released? Do you have an opinion on that, Alex? As a matchmaker, as a general manager?
I would suggest that they're not showing it because there's nothing in there. I mean, you got to look at it from that side. I mean, there's no controversy about the second sample. It did not look good for Canelo, yes, but also you have to look at what he's been able to do. In the first Triple G fight, Canelo did something that I thought he was not capable of doing. He fought going backwards, and he fought well.
He did,
and that tells you something about a megastar that is coachable, and that's something very interesting. So, he keeps on learning. He keeps getting better. The fight that he has coming up with Kovalev is just a great fight for him. I think Kovalev, it's a little older. We saw in his fight against the British guy who happened to say out loud that he didn't need sparring. I don't know.
Why would you say
I
that?
don't understand that. I don't know how because he's going to leave it all in the ring, and he did. But I think it's a good fight for Canelo. It's a good move for him to move up to 175. I don't see it as an easy fight. He's going to uncharted territory, but they seem very confident, and I think he wins.
No, and I know, and he says he's going and then coming back down. He says he doesn't want to stay at the 175. So
he's going up for collecting the belt,
and that's it. He said,
and I think he makes 175 regularly. I mean, when he fought Cotto, it looked like Cotto was 140 and Canelo was 175.
Don't you think that's risky though, going up to 175 then coming back to 160?
remember when Roy Jones went up to heavyweight and then came back? The losing muscle mass is very difficult for a fighter. So that's something that they have to basically analyze to see how comfortable he is. Probably he'll come back to super middle.
Rafi Gonzalez is a matchmaker right here for you. He says Ruben Villa versus Kid Galaha.
Kid
Galaha, yeah. Actually, Kid got. No. He's the British kid. Yeah, that'd be a terrific fight. Yeah.
Terrific fight. What do you got, man? Oh no, we're good. All right, so I have two more questions, and whatever you have next, brother. Okay. But Alex, you're such a knowledgeable guy. I found out more now than anything.
That's not true, but thank you.
No, you are, man. You are. I didn't know about the whole Don King, and this, when we started, and this is the second time you're on here. So, like I said, you always give us some diamonds. But, and I don't know. I hope Ken is not watching right now because he's gonna kill me for this question. But do you ever feel like maybe I could start my own company, my own promotion company, or you're in love with the love that you guys have at Thompson?
No, we've been doing it for 20 years. I gotta say this: I'm fortunate that I have the boss that I have.
Right.
He's allowed me to grow in the sport. He's always believed in me. He's always been a strong supporter of the decisions that I've made, the decisions that he makes. He trusts in how I see the sport and believes in what the groundwork that we're doing in order to get somewhere. No, I wouldn't go anywhere else. I'm as happy as it could be.
I believe it, man.
They're gonna leave him the company once.
I want to retire. Okay, I want to retire.
No, but let me tell you this: it's 20 years in Thompson, right?
Yes.
But it's 3 years with Don King. That's 23 years that you've been in.
Well, we started in 2000. Right. In 2003, I got hired by Don King, and I was doing both jobs.
Oh.
And Mr. Thompson had the vision to allow me to do both jobs because he said, "Go and learn." And now, case in point, we didn't sign any fighters from 2000 till 2004. What opened my eyes is actually getting out of my own element and not doing 4 or 5 fights, at the DoubleTree, but starting to see that the bigger picture. And the first guy that we signed was Josecito Lopez. The second guy we signed was Timothy Bradley. The third guy we signed was Yanni Perez.
What's one valuable thing you learned when you were with Don King with those 3 years that you're implementing with Thompson Boxing?
Work.
Just work.
The work ethic that he had, the work ethic that Bobby Goodman had, who I worked directly under, the work ethic of Dana Jameson, who also was my boss there. That was something that I took to heart.
So there's no secret, right?
Hard work.
You know what the secret was over there? Be at your desk at 8:30 in the morning sharp, no matter what. And before that, you have to be at breakfast with Bobby when we were on the road every morning. So that was the thing, and you learn how to. I would call it man a desk. You have to be able to answer the phone and be there, present as much as possible.
Michael Chacon gives us a fun fact for all of us here and even the fans out there. He used to be a guy that used to set up for you guys at the DoubleTree before.
All right.
Big shout out to Michael Chacon, man. Thank you for doing that, man. Thank you. Now, my last question, and I promise this is my last question because I already know you guys are timing me. What's your goal, Alex? I know that you're telling me you want to retire, but you're too young to retire, my man. But what is your goal? And if you could share it with us, you know what I mean?
Right.
What's your goal?
Our goal, my goal in particular, is to try to keep changing some of these young men's lives through the sport. I've seen it with my own eyes. When Yanni Perez got the world title, the IBF world title, at the time we co-promoted him with Gary Shaw. And we had made a promise to him that we were going to go to Colombia to celebrate with him in his town, in Cartagena. So after he won the title in Vegas, about maybe 2 weeks after, we made our way down there. And we took the belt with us because, they didn't give it to him at the moment, just for the photos. And then Abgeko kept his belt. So we took the belt down to Cartagena with him, and we went with Danny Zamora, his manager and trainer at the time. He had a parade. We were on top of a fire truck, the whole bit. And it was amazing, and he took us to his house in Cartagena, and It was a small, tiny house, not bigger than this room that we're in. Had no AC. Cartagena is extremely hot and humid. So I feel like I'm in Cartagena. So, and you know, the living room, the kitchen, they had tile floors. His bedroom was in the back of the house. It had no windows, okay, no glass, and it was just on dirt. And he had 2 hammocks for him and his wife.
Wow.
His kids had beds, and they had another bedroom. And when we're walking to this kitchen, he's showing us his refrigerator, and he opens it up, and it's a small refrigerator about this tall, okay, and a 5-footer, not big. And he opens it up and he says, "Look, it's full of food." And he closed it down and he goes, "But I'm gonna give this refrigerator to my sister, and I'm gonna buy a bigger one." And I had one of those moments, and I shed a tear. And then we walked outside, and it's this whole neighborhood. And this is a really rough neighborhood in Cartagena. Really, really rough. Extremely poor. The only thing he asked from the city is that they would pave his street. Okay? So we walked outside, and we're sitting, and everybody's gathering, and we're having beers. And that's when I realized how important, not my job was, how important was his job. I was able to provide him with an opportunity and make him grow into a better person. And that's actually the goal, you know, to change somebody's life through their own effort.
And he influences others.
Absolutely.
To do better.
Change his life, change the life of his family for good.
Awesome.
And this is what we as fans only see. We just want to see blood. We just want to see cuts. But we don't see what you just said, like all the sacrifices. And I mean, there should be books written about this, you know what I mean? And, you know, that's why we love this sport, man. And that's why we love guys like you, Alex, that give us this opportunity, man. Thank you very much. Love you guys back. Yeah. Now,
let's get to it.
Are we going to get to some of this crazy stuff for next week? Alex already knows the routine. He's going to have to give us some predictions, even though he doesn't like them. Here we go. Saturday night, ESPN Plus. Let's do this. Yeah. Josh Warrington versus Sofiane Tokoc for the IBF title.
I don't even know who the guy is, but I'm going with Josh Warrington just because he's a
Warrington's a terrific fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll go for Warrington.
I'm going Warrington too, but I think Warrington's starting to be that guy that he's being kind of like put to the side, man. Because Frank Warren, everybody's talking about what's the guy that beat Santa Cruz? Frampton. They're talking about Frampton, like they're pushing Frampton when Warrington is the current champion out there, you know? So shouldn't they be pushing Warrington?
Well, Frampton still moves the needle over there.
Yeah, he has the name.
Yeah. So is that what it is, Alex?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's go to Saturday.
Money.
Hey!
It's a business.
I got 2 more fights and that's it, brother.
No,
I know you want to give it to me. All right, Saturday from Chicago on the zone. Dimitri Bivol versus Lenny Castillo for the WBA belt.
Dimitri Bivol, man, come on.
Yeah,
knockout.
Knockout?
Mm-hmm. Bivol, yes.
Knockout too?
Knockout, yeah.
Bivol knockout, guys. Yeah. All right, so you guys better start putting your money on that. And if you guys are making a lot of money, make sure you guys throw me a little something, okay? All right, let's go to the main event. Alexander Usyk versus Tyrone Spong for his heavyweight division belt. Not belt, but
Usyk's first fight at heavyweight.
Heavyweight, yeah.
Usyk will beat him. I'll go knockout.
Really? Knockout?
Yeah.
His first stay at heavyweight?
Well, look at the name. Who's he fighting?
Tyrone, dude.
Look, if I'm a matchmaker and I want my fighter to make his entrance to a new division, heavyweight, I want him to get a knockout. So they studied this fight. The matchmakers know why they're putting him in there, and I think because they want him to get the knockout. So I'll go knockout.
Is that fight really happening?
Yeah, it is.
You see.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. I'm gonna go with Usyk too, man. See, Alex gives some love, and I'm gonna give some love to another promotion company that's out here right now. Red Boxing's having a show this Saturday, so if you guys don't have anything to do, make sure you guys hit up Red Boxing. They still have some tickets for their Saturday event at the Pico Rivera Sports Arena. And with that said, you want to give out any shout outs, anything you want to say to people, Alex?
No, just thank you for all of us joining us here at this great show. We want to see everybody on the 18th. If you can make it, the 18th, don't stream it. Come watch it live. If you cannot make it and work with the traffic all the way to Ontario, watch us on the stream, but we'll be there on October the 18th at the Doubletree Hotel in Ontario.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit. If you guys can't make it in traffic, you guys don't start the show till what time?
8:05 sharp.
8:05, guys. There is no way you guys get out at 5 o'clock. They cannot make it to the Ontario Doubletree, man.
Yep.
I want to see you guys all there, man. That's a great event.
It's a good setup. It's not all crowded.
Right.
There's a lot of boxers that go. I've seen Mikey Garcia there sometimes. So.
Yep.
It's a good,
like you don't feel
good
like
prices on the
you don't
beer.
feel all, like,
Exactly.
trapped up.
Exactly.
I think that's what you mean.
It's a good spread.
You guys actually have the chairs, a little bit spread, or gorditos like
Nice
me.
and dark in there.
Like Alex was saying, like I'm feeling like I'm in the left pavilion at Dodger Stadium. Everybody's cramping me up. You know what I mean? So is that it?
Yeah.
We're good. All right, guys. See you guys all next week. Thank you very much for joining us. All right.